Commander Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of Earth Defense Station Alpha, watching the vast emptiness of space around Mars. The red planet hung like a bloody marble below them. Jake had been stationed here for 2 years, and nothing exciting ever happened. His crew was small but reliable. Lisa Baker handled the pilot duties with steady hands. Tony Clark kept their engines running smooth. Amy Foster managed all their communications with Earth and the other stations. It was just another boring Tuesday when Amy's equipment started going crazy. She looked up from her screens with wide eyes. "Commander Morrison, I'm picking up something huge coming our way." Jake walked over to check her readings. What he saw made his stomach drop. The screens showed dozens of massive objects moving toward their solar system. These weren't asteroids or space debris. These things were enormous, bigger than anything humans had ever built. They moved in perfect formation like a military fleet. "Are you sure these readings are right?" Jake asked. His voice stayed calm, but inside he felt worried. Amy double-checked everything. "Yes, sir, they're real, and they're heading straight for us." The objects were still far away, but they were moving fast. Too fast for anything natural. Jake knew immediately what this meant, after decades of wondering if humans were alone in the universe. They finally had their answer, and it didn't look friendly. The alien ships were beautiful in a terrifying way. They looked like giant crystals that had been carved into weapon shapes. Each ship was at least 10 times bigger than Earth's largest space stations. Strange lights pulsed along their surfaces. The fleet moved together like a school of deadly fish. Jake sent an urgent message to Earth. Within hours, every government on the planet was in emergency meetings. The aliens were still days away, but everyone knew this would change everything. Hondaker. The lead alien ship, Commander Vextar, looked at the primitive human vessels with amusement. Vextar belonged to a race called the Zephyrians. His people had conquered dozens of star systems. They were tall, with gray skin and 4 arms. Their society was built around war and conquest. To them, might made right. Vextar studied the human ships on his viewing screen. They looked like crude metal boxes compared to Zephyrian crystal technology. "These humans build like children," he told his officers. "This will be even easier than conquering the Alterians." The Alterians had been their last conquest. That peaceful race had tried to negotiate and trade. They had basic energy shields and some defensive weapons. But when the Zephyrians attacked, the Alterians surrendered after just 3 days. Now they worked as slaves in Zephyrian mines. Earth sent their best diplomats to make first contact. Captain Ben Harris led the team. He brought Kate Wilson, who was an expert in languages, and Ryan Adams, who studied alien life. They met the aliens in space halfway between Mars and Jupiter. The meeting took place on a neutral space platform that humans had quickly built. Captain Harris tried to stay calm as the alien shuttle approached. It was beautiful but deadly looking, like a flying sword made of crystal. Vextar came aboard with 2 guards. He was 7 feet tall and looked down at the humans like they were insects. His 4 arms moved constantly, a sign of impatience in Zephyrian culture. "I am Vextar, commander of the Zephyrian war fleet," he announced. His voice was deep and harsh. "You will surrender your planet immediately. Your species will serve as workers for the Zephyrian Empire." Captain Harris kept his voice steady. "We welcome you to our solar system. We come in peace and hope we can be friends. Earth has much to offer in trade and cooperation." Vextar and his guards made a sound that might have been laughter. Trade? Cooperation? Vextar seemed amazed by the idea. "Weak species do not trade with strong ones. They serve or they die." Kate Wilson tried to explain human culture and history. She talked about how humans could be valuable allies. Ryan Adams showed recordings of Earth's diverse life and advanced technology, but the aliens weren't interested. The Alterians said similar things, Vextar told them. They claimed their art and culture were valuable. They offered to share their knowledge freely, but in the end they all knelt before Zephyrian power. Vextar showed them recordings of the Alterian conquest. The peaceful alien race had tried to defend their beautiful crystal cities, but their weapons were no match for Zephyrian war technology. In just 3 days, an entire civilization became slaves. Your species is even more primitive than the Altarians, Vextar continued. They at least had energy shields and beam weapons. You still use crude chemical rockets and metal projectiles. This conquest will be embarrassingly easy. Captain Harris refused to surrender. Humanity will never bow to any alien empire. We've fought for our freedom for thousands of years. We won't stop now. Vextar seemed genuinely surprised by this response. In his experience, primitive species always surrendered when faced with superior technology. The Zephyrians had conquered 47 star systems, and it always went the same way. A show of force, demands for surrender, and then quick victory. Very well, Vexitar said. I will demonstrate why resistance is pointless. The alien fleet moved to Jupiter's orbit, where humans had built a large civilian space station called New Geneva. Thousands of families lived there, including many children. The station was clearly marked as non-military. Without warning, the Zephyrian ships opened fire. Their crystal weapons shot beams of pure energy. New Geneva's shields lasted less than 30 seconds. The entire station exploded in a ball of white fire. 3,000 innocent people died instantly. The aliens broadcast the destruction to every human communication network on Earth and throughout the solar system. Vextar's message was simple. This is what happens to those who resist the Zephyrian Empire. Surrender now, or watch your species burn. On Earth, Director Paul Mitchell called an emergency meeting of the Global Defense Council. Admiral Helen Torres spread out tactical reports on the table. The news was bad. Earth's most powerful nuclear weapons had been tested against alien ship hulls. The missiles barely scratched the crystal surfaces. Their technology is centuries ahead of ours, Admiral Torres reported. Our best weapons are like throwing rocks at a tank. But Jake Morrison and his crew weren't giving up. As they watched the alien fleet approach Earth, Jake made a promise to the memory of those who died at New Geneva. The Zephyrians thought humans were just another weak species to be enslaved. They were about to learn how wrong they were. After the attack on New Geneva, Earth was in chaos. But in that chaos, something interesting happened. Dr. Alex Johnson was a military historian who had studied every major war in human history. He sat in the emergency meeting of the Global Defense Council, listening to all the panic and fear. When the generals finished talking about their failed weapons tests, Dr. Johnson stood up slowly. He was an older man with gray hair and calm eyes. Gentlemen, ladies, he said quietly, I think you're missing something important about our situation. Director Paul Mitchell looked tired and frustrated. What could we possibly be missing, Doctor? Their ships are stronger than anything we have. Dr. Johnson walked to the big screen showing images of the alien fleet. These aliens have conquered 47 star systems. But look at how they do it. They show up, demand surrender, maybe destroy one target, and then the whole planet gives up. Admiral Helen Torres frowned. Your point? My point is simple, Dr. Johnson continued. They've never fought a species like us. Humans don't just get weaker when threatened. We get stronger. We get angry. And when humans get angry enough, we become very dangerous. The room was quiet. Dr. Johnson clicked through slides showing human history. Images of ancient battles, world wars, survival against impossible odds. Every other species they conquered probably thought like civilized beings. They calculated their chances, realized they couldn't win, and surrendered to save lives. He paused at a picture of soldiers fighting in destroyed cities. But humans have something these aliens have never seen before. We have a word for it. Spite. When someone tries to destroy us, we don't just fight back. We fight back harder than anyone expects. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Colonel Dana Price was already putting this theory to work. She had spent her career training special forces units. Now she was coordinating with resistance groups all over the world. Her secure communication network connected fighters from every continent. Listen up, people, she told her team leaders. These aliens think they know how this war goes. They're expecting us to roll over like every other species they've conquered. We're going to show them what happens when you threaten humans. The first surprise came from an unexpected source. Stephen Fox was just a car mechanic from Detroit before the invasion. But when alien debris from the Jupiter attack fell near his garage, Stephen started taking it apart. He had always been good with machines, and alien technology was just another puzzle to solve. Working with Maria Santos, an electrical engineer from Mexico City, Stephen made an amazing discovery. The alien energy shields were incredibly advanced, but they had one weakness. They were designed to stop energy weapons like lasers and plasma beams. They weren't built to handle simple physical objects moving at high speed. It's like bringing a computer to a rock fight, Stephen explained to the resistance leaders. Their shields are too smart for their own good. This discovery changed everything. When the Zephyrian ground forces landed in major cities around Earth, they expected quick victory. Their previous conquests always went the same way. Land the troops, set up control centers, and wait for the local government to surrender. But humans didn't follow the script. In New York City, Sergeant Chris Brown led a group of police officers, firefighters, and ordinary citizens in urban warfare. They used the city's subway tunnels and abandoned buildings to move around unseen. When alien patrols walked down the streets, humans attacked them with hunting rifles, shotguns, and homemade explosives. The Zephyrian soldiers were confused. Their energy shields stopped laser weapons perfectly, but they couldn't handle a deer-hunting rifle firing lead bullets. The primitive projectiles punched right through their defenses. "This makes no sense," one alien officer reported to his commanders. "These humans are using weapons that are thousands of years old. Why aren't our shields working?" In Colorado, Captain Nicole Green organized mountain fighters who knew the terrain like the back of their hands. They used old mining tunnels to move supplies and set up ambush points. When alien aircraft flew overhead, the humans shot them down with modified rocket-propelled grenades. The aliens had conquered advanced civilizations with energy weapons and force fields. They had no experience fighting an enemy that used simple explosives and guerrilla tactics. News anchor Jennifer Davis became the voice of human resistance. She broadcast from hidden locations, moving constantly to avoid alien detection. Her report spread hope across the planet as she described alien casualties and successful human attacks. Today, resistance fighters in London destroyed 3 alien transport vehicles using improvised explosive devices, she reported. In Tokyo, human forces recaptured the central district after aliens abandoned their positions. The enemy expected laser rifles and plasma cannons. Instead, they're facing hunting rifles and homemade bombs. Her broadcasts were reaching alien communication networks too. Zephyrian officers were hearing reports that didn't match their expectations. How could primitive humans be causing so much trouble? The breaking point came when human forces captured a Zephyrian officer during a raid in Berlin. Intelligence analyst Kevin White interrogated the prisoner using translation equipment salvaged from the destroyed space station. What the alien told them was shocking. "Your species is impossible," the Zephyrian officer said. "We have conquered 47 star systems. Every other race either fought one big space battle and lost, or they surrendered immediately to save lives." Kevin leaned forward. "But humans are different?" "Completely different," the alien replied, his forearms shaking with confusion. "Other species think about survival and logic. When they see superior technology, they accept defeat. But humans seem to get more dangerous when threatened." The officer continued. "The Alterians had better weapons than you. They had energy shields and beam weapons, but when we showed our strength, they calculated their chances and surrendered in 3 days. You humans don't calculate. You just keep fighting." Kevin shared this information with resistance leaders worldwide. The aliens were used to fighting civilized wars against civilized enemies. They had never faced true guerrilla warfare. They didn't understand an enemy that turned every building into a fortress and every citizen into a potential fighter. As the second week of invasion continued, something strange began happening. Zephyrian forces started avoiding human population centers. Their officers were requesting additional reinforcements. Some alien units were reporting mysterious equipment failures and unexplained casualties. The sleeping giant was waking up, and it was angrier than the aliens had ever imagined possible. 3 weeks into the invasion, Dr. Rebecca Jones was working in a secret underground laboratory beneath the ruins of MIT. She had gathered the brightest minds from around the world to solve one problem: how to turn human creativity into alien killing weapons. Rebecca was a biochemist who had spent her career studying how different species adapted to survive. Now she was applying that knowledge to warfare. Her team included Brian Murphy, a computer programmer who had learned to hack alien systems, and Lisa Adams, a materials scientist who was finding new ways to use alien technology. "The key is thinking like humans, not like aliens," Rebecca explained to her team. "These Zephyrians are advanced, but they're not creative. They've been using the same tactics for centuries because they always worked. We need to show them what happens when they fight a species that never stops adapting." The breakthrough came from an unexpected discovery. Danny Roberts was a mechanic from a small town in Kansas. When alien forces occupied his area, he had hidden in his garage and watched them work. Danny noticed something strange about their power systems. The aliens kept their equipment very clean and sterile. Their technology seemed almost afraid of getting dirty. This gave Danny an idea. He collected samples of ordinary Earth bacteria from soil, water, and even his own mouth. Then he snuck close to an alien power core and dumped the bacteria on it. The result was spectacular. The alien power core exploded within minutes, taking out an entire enemy patrol vehicle. Danny had discovered that Zephyrian technology couldn't handle Earth's microorganisms. When Danny's discovery reached Dr. Rebecca Jones, she immediately understood what this meant. Sarah Thompson, a microbiologist on her team, started developing biological weapons using common Earth bacteria. They could be sprayed on alien equipment or released into alien-controlled areas. "It's beautiful in its simplicity," Sarah explained. "Their technology is so advanced that it has no defense against something as basic as germs. It's like using a supercomputer that crashes when you spill coffee on it." Meanwhile, Navy SEAL Commander Eric Williams was proving that human special operations capabilities were unlike anything the aliens had faced. Eric led a team of elite soldiers, including Frank Moore, an explosives expert, and Melissa Clark, a sniper who could hit targets from over a mile away. Eric's team specialized in impossible missions. They would infiltrate alien command ships, plant explosives, and escape before anyone knew they were there. The aliens couldn't understand how humans could appear and disappear like ghosts. "These humans fight without honor," complained one Zephyrian officer to his commander. "They don't announce their attacks or fight in formation. They strike from shadows and vanish like smoke." The Zephyrian military doctrine had no answer for this kind of warfare. For thousands of years they had fought other organized militaries in predictable battles. Human special forces operated by completely different rules. Eric's most famous mission happened when his team infiltrated the alien command ship orbiting above Australia. They spent 3 days hiding inside the ship's maintenance areas, studying alien procedures and planting explosives in critical systems. When they finally struck, the team destroyed the ship's main computer core, communication array, and navigation system all within 10 minutes. The massive vessel lost control and crashed into the ocean. Eric's team escaped in stolen alien escape pods. In the skies above Earth, pilot Rachel Brown was rewriting the rules of aerial combat. Rachel flew a modified F-22 fighter jet that had been equipped with salvaged alien weapons. Her squadron had learned to fight alien aircraft in ways the invaders never expected. The aliens were used to space combat where battles happened in straight lines across vast distances. But Rachel and her pilots fought in Earth's atmosphere, using clouds, mountains, and even buildings as cover. They would dive out of cloud cover, fire quick bursts, and disappear before the aliens could respond. "Their pilots are like robots," Rachel reported after one battle. "They fly in perfect formation and follow predictable patterns. But they can't handle it when we break all the rules and attack from impossible angles." Rachel's squadron shot down dozens of alien fighters by treating aerial combat like a three-dimensional chess game instead of a formal duel. The aliens couldn't adapt to this chaotic fighting style. But the most important discovery came from studying captured aliens themselves. Human psychologists and doctors examined Zephyrian prisoners and found something shocking: the alien society. had become so dependent on technology that individual warriors had almost no survival skills. When separated from their equipment, Zephyrian soldiers became helpless. They couldn't find food, make shelter, or even navigate without their technological aids. In contrast, humans routinely survived in harsh conditions using nothing but basic tools and creativity. Dr. Mark Taylor, a psychologist studying the alien prisoners, made a disturbing report. These beings have been using advanced technology for so long that they've forgotten how to think for themselves. Take away their computers and weapons, and they're like children lost in the wilderness. This discovery led to a new human strategy. Instead of trying to destroy alien technology, human forces began capturing it intact and then cutting off alien access to their support systems. Entire alien units would surrender rather than face the prospect of surviving without their technological umbilical cord. Commander Vextar was becoming increasingly frustrated. His reports to the Zephyrian High Command painted a picture that his superiors found hard to believe. The humans fight with weapons that should be obsolete, he reported. They use biological warfare, psychological tactics, and guerrilla strategies that no civilized species would employ. They turn everything into a weapon, from their own microorganisms to primitive chemical explosives. Vextar's officers were showing signs of psychological stress. Many had requested transfers away from Earth. Some had developed what human doctors would recognize as post-traumatic stress disorder. They had nightmares about human fighters who appeared from nowhere and vanished like demons. They don't fight like warriors, one young Zephyrian officer told the ship's medic. They fight like angry animals, but animals that can think and plan and use tools. It's unnatural. The Zephyrian fleet, which had expected to conquer Earth in a matter of days, was now struggling to maintain control of even small areas. Human resistance was growing stronger every day, and the aliens were learning too late that they had picked a fight with the wrong species. The war was entering a new phase, and for the first time since the invasion began, some Zephyrian commanders were quietly wondering if they could actually lose. 6 weeks after the invasion began, Admiral Gary Thompson stood on the bridge of the retrofitted Earth battleship New Hope. The ship had been built from salvaged alien technology and human engineering. It wasn't pretty, but it was deadly. Gary looked out at his fleet of similar vessels, each one commanded by officers who had learned to fight with a combination of human tactics and captured alien weapons. Captain Linda Parker commanded the assault ship Freedom, which had been built around alien shield generators and human missile systems. Colonel Matt Johnson led the strike cruiser Defiance, equipped with hybrid weapons that even surprised Earth's own scientists. These ships represented something new in galactic warfare: human adaptability combined with advanced technology. But the real secret weapon was hidden in the computer systems. Carlos Rivera had been a software engineer before the war. Now he was humanity's most dangerous hacker. Carlos had spent weeks studying captured alien computer systems, looking for weaknesses. "Admiral," Carlos reported, "I've found something interesting about their network systems. The Zephyrians connect everything together for maximum efficiency. But that means if we can get into their main network, we can affect their entire fleet." Carlos had developed a computer virus unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. It wasn't just designed to destroy data or crash systems. It was built to exploit the aliens' greatest strength and turn it into their greatest weakness. The Zephyrian fleet operated like a single giant organism. Every ship was connected to every other ship, sharing information instantly. This allowed them to coordinate attacks with perfect precision. But Carlos realized that this same network could be used to spread chaos throughout their entire force. Their final battle began when Admiral Thompson's fleet approached the main Zephyrian mothership. The alien vessel was enormous, larger than some Earth cities. It bristled with crystal weapons and energy shields that could destroy planets. "Commander," Vextar watched the approaching human ships with a mixture of anger and confusion. "Look at them," he told his officers. "Their ships are ugly combinations of our technology and their primitive metals. They have no sense of proper design or military protocol." But Vextar had learned to respect human unpredictability. Over 6 weeks of fighting, He had lost more ships and soldiers than in his previous 10 conquests combined. The humans fought like nothing in Zephyrian experience. The space battle was unlike any the galaxy had ever seen. Human ships didn't follow standard military formations. Instead, they swarmed around the larger alien vessels like angry wasps. They used hit-and-run tactics, striking fast and disappearing behind debris fields and asteroid clusters. Captain Parker's ship Freedom performed a maneuver that would have been impossible for alien pilots. She flew her vessel through the wreckage of destroyed ships, using the debris as cover while her crew fired modified human missiles that punched through alien shields. Colonel Johnson's Defiance demonstrated another human innovation: kamikaze, tactics with a twist. His ship pretended to be severely damaged and drifting helplessly toward the alien mothership. When Zephyrian fighters moved in to finish them off, Johnson's crew revealed hidden weapons and destroyed the entire enemy squadron. The middle of the battle, Carlos Rivera executed his masterpiece. His computer virus spread through the Zephyrian network like wildfire. Within minutes, alien ships lost coordination with each other. Their perfect formations broke apart as individual vessels received conflicting orders. "What's happening to our systems?" Vextar demanded as his ship's computers began displaying random information. "The humans have infected our network," his technology officer reported. "The virus is spreading through every connected system. It's causing chaos in our coordination protocols." The Zephyrian fleet, which had operated like a single efficient organism, suddenly became a collection of confused individual ships. Captains couldn't communicate with each other. Navigation systems gave wrong directions. Weapon systems targeted friendly vessels by mistake. But the final confrontation was personal. Vextar, desperate to salvage some honor from this disaster, issued a challenge that echoed across all communication frequencies. "Humans," his voice boomed through space. "Your species fights without honor or dignity. But I, Vextar, challenge your greatest warrior to single combat. If I win, your forces will withdraw. If I lose, my fleet will retreat from your system." The challenge was answered by Marine Colonel Janet Woods. Janet had fought in every major human conflict for the past 20 years. She had survived battles in jungles, deserts, mountains, and cities. She was 50 years old, scarred from countless fights, and absolutely fearless. The single combat took place on a neutral platform in space, with both fleets watching. Vextar was 7 feet tall with 4 powerful arms and natural armor plating. He carried traditional Zephyrian crystal weapons that could cut through steel. Janet looked small compared to the alien commander. She carried simple human weapons: a military knife, a sidearm, and her own experience. The fight seemed hopeless, but Vextar had made the same mistake as the rest of his species. He underestimated what humans become when they're pushed to their limits. The battle was brutal and fast. Vextar used his size and reach advantage, trying to overwhelm Janet with his superior strength. His crystal weapons moved in perfect Zephyrian combat forms that had been refined over thousands of years. Janet fought like a human, dirty, creative, and adaptable. She used the platform's equipment as weapons. She changed tactics constantly, never fighting the same way twice. When Vextar expected her to retreat, she attacked. When he prepared for an attack, she vanished and struck from behind. The turning point came when Janet did something no Zephyrian warrior had ever experienced. Instead of trying to match Vextar's strength, she used his own power against him. When he charged with all 4 arms extended, she dropped low and used his momentum to send him flying into a metal wall. The impact stunned Vextar. In that moment of confusion, Janet struck with the decisive blow that ended the fight. As Vextar lay defeated, he accessed his ship's database with his last conscious thought. What he found there made him understand the magnitude of his mistake. Hidden in the Zephyrian military files were warnings from ancient species known as the Elders. The Elders were old civilizations that had survived for millions of years by being very careful about which species they contacted. Their database contained detailed warnings about humanity. Species designation: human. Planet: Earth. Classification: growth predator species. The file read: "Warning. Do not engage in hostile contact. Humans become exponentially more dangerous when threatened. Previous observation shows rapid technological and tactical adaptation under stress. The file contained video footage of human history, wars that lasted for decades, survival in impossible conditions, technological breakthroughs achieved during crisis periods. The elders had been watching Earth for centuries, and they had reached a clear conclusion. Recommendation: avoid all aggressive contact with human species. They exhibit unique trait of becoming stronger when faced with extinction-level threats. Classification: apex predator species. Approach with extreme caution. Vextar realized that the elders had tried to warn the Zephyrian High Command before the invasion. But Zephyrian pride had ignored the warnings. They thought their superior technology made them invincible. As the Zephyrian fleet retreated from Earth's solar system, news of their defeat spread across the galaxy through alien survivors and communication networks. Other aggressive species that had been planning to attack Earth after the Zephyrians expected easy victory suddenly reconsidered their plans. Dr. Alex Johnson addressed the United Nations, explaining that Earth had accidentally become a galactic superpower overnight. "We didn't seek this position," he said, "but when threatened with extinction, humanity showed the galaxy what we're capable of. Now other species want our protection, and our enemies are afraid to attack us." Commander Jake Morrison, now promoted to admiral, oversaw humanity's first interstellar fleet. In less than 2 months, Earth had gone from an unknown planet to the galaxy's most feared military power. The final scene showed alien parents across the galaxy warning their children about the death world called Earth. Stories spread about the terrifying inhabitants who turned everything into weapons and never surrendered. Humanity had become the new galactic legend that other species told to teach their young about the dangers of underestimating an enemy. In their ancient observatories, the elders updated their databases with a new entry. Recommendation confirmed. Humanity classification: apex predator species. Previous warnings ignored resulted in Zephyrian defeat. Future recommendation: avoid all hostile contact. Approach with maximum caution, or preferably not at all.